Hi, I'm Jennifer and this is Unearthed Relics. I have a few quick Goodwill outlet finds to show off from a recent and very short trip, but again, proof that you can find great things even if you have a very limited amount of time to run through and take a look. First was a set of postcards. They're not really old, but kind of have old subjects or an old kind of look to them. A little Audrey Hepburn in there. Fun old cup holder, not cold cup holder, coaster with a fun little graphic on it. I found a lot of great paper goods on this trip, including a fun Karate Kid 2 book, a little workbook. It's mostly filled out, but I think that actually adds to some of the fun of it. I got this really cool color helm, so it kind of shows you different color combinations. I'm actually really excited about using that in some of my crafting. And then also got a watercolor set. And then my favorite find from this last round was a bunch of vintage cards. And it came in kind of an ugly, unassuming looking box. I'm like, oh, nothing on the front there looked particularly interesting. But I always look inside because oftentimes people will consolidate their stationery into one box, and I think that that was the case here. So there was a little bit of Christmas. I got a couple cute little Christmas cards. Some were new and some were used. This was a bridal shower card and a wedding card, both kind of vintage and cool. A couple different themes. So one with this adorable cat for birthdays and a cute little doggy. That one's just kind of that one looks like an appreciation one. And then a one for a teacher that I thought was so cute. And let's see, hospitality cards. These had really cool flowers on them. A note of cheer. Again, just kind of neat old sounding paper in that case. This one looked like it was maybe a giveaway inside of something. It's like a postcard that's wrapped in plastic. And then a cool vintage flowers sort of themed birthday card. But there were some really pretty ones in the mix. Just some cool colors and some neat embellishments with glitter. I love these. I just think these are really precious and I'm excited about those. You obviously don't have to use it as a get well card. Sometimes just the flowers, you could swap out the message that something like that says. I think that would be perfect for Easter. Here's another, just really pretty florals on some of these, all different styles. It looks like they maybe came from a couple different sets. So I think I'm gonna have fun using different elements of that in my crafting. The ducks, that one's kind of got a different look to it. So yeah, so this one really felt like a real treasure when I stumbled across it in a bin. Here's some other little guys too. I think those are so cute. In any case, I figure these are easy enough to mail out, and I have a couple that were duplicates, so I'm gonna put these up for grabs. So if you're interested in this one's a get well with some butterflies and flowers. This one's a get well with a cute little girl and her doggy. And then this one with the cute little birds in the bird cage. Also, I think a get well. So let me know in comments. And yeah, if you're one of the first folks who speaks up for maybe having a good use for one of those items, I'd be happy to share that out with you. And thanks for joining me today. All right, so today I'm really excited to show off some of the collage work that I've been doing recently as part of the monthly challenge and exchange from the Collage Art Collective with Marguerite Miller. And this was the first time I had ever worked on zines, so I was kind of excited about the idea of doing that, and was inspired to try a few things. Let me put some of these things aside. I'm going to walk you through. So my first one did not turn out great, both in terms of some missteps on gluing things down and the shading of things. Like you can see that I got a little bit of extra shading over there from the stencil that I'd used, and also it wasn't super flat, so I haven't really finished this one. I might come back to it. This one was kind of like a gold sort of inspired version. The second one was inspired by kind of blue. I have some blue Valentines that I've found over the years, including that one, and so I had fun kind of playing with the kind of blue sort of images and pulling out some different things here, including some decoupage images. These were really hard. I could get them off the transfer paper. They're meant to go right onto something, and they were really old and brittle, so they kept falling apart, but I thought that still looked kind of cool. And this one I had this little poem about Jenny kissed me when we met, so I kind of envisioned her being the little Jenny in this story here too. So this was the photocopied version, so it also kind of transferred pretty well into print version. Some of the polka dots and things didn't come out quite as well as I'd hoped, but for the most part I was really happy with this one, and just the fun little pages there. And that was my first, I'm going to call that one my first finished zine. And then I was inspired as I was trying to kind of find the right quotes and different things. I'd found this really fun one called Sally in the Alley. Well, it wasn't called that, but it referenced a girl called Sally in the Alley. I pulled that out of a quote book when I was finding love quotes, and got really, really intrigued by that. And then I lost the one that I had torn out of the quote book. I've looked everywhere, still haven't been able to find it, but figured maybe the internet had my back, which it did. And I kind of fell down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I learned a little bit more about the fact that this has been a song that's been around since the 1700s with various tunes, and had also been a movie and a Broadway musical and all kinds of other things. Literally had never heard of this. So in my kind of version of it, I have the story being about Sally, and I thought that would be this cute little girl here, and I have some similar looking images there. And that it turns out that the person who's in love with her is this little squirrel. So I'd gotten this card recently from an exchange for some different junk journal supplies and things, and this little sassy squirrel was the most precious thing in there, so I've been dying to use it, and was really excited that it kind of fit in with the story. It also had these really cute little squirrel images from my mom, so I was able to incorporate those on different pages. So I also used a real bingo card on this one, and I took off some of the cardboard backing using kind of a little razor kind of shaver thing for the back. That was probably the hardest part, and there were some places where it kind of pokes through a little bit, so it took a while to get it to kind of pan out on that front. But then I kind of realized too, like, well, it doesn't really matter if the master version or the kind of original version doesn't fold up. So, you know, it does, it just doesn't fold super easily, and that was okay. The other thing I will point out though that's really kind of fun and cool is the fact that I was able to incorporate kind of mixed media sort of elements. So I've got some actual lace down here. There's part of the song or poem that references little Sally's mom being a lace maker. So I incorporated some lace and then also some rickrack. And I was really, really happy with the way that those ended up transferring to a copy, because I was curious about that, like if they'd cast shadows or not show up in the finished version. So this was the photocopied version of the zine. And I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out. Again, I might kind of play around with some of the contrast just to get some of the images to show up a little bit better. But the other thing that I did for this one was, with all the information I was researching when I was looking for the song or poem again, I put this on the back. So like a little history of it. And I thought that that would be kind of fun because I noticed on the other one that sometimes the back of the page shows through if you haven't folded things exactly right. So this version has the information on the back and folds up really nicely. And so if you're curious to learn more about the origins of Sally in the Alley, you can learn about that, but then also hear this fun little story from the perspective and come to realize that all along it's Sassy Squirrel that's in love with Sally. So anyway, I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to share this with the partners that I've been assigned, and I'll put a link up on here for you to get a copy if you'd like to print out one on your own or learn more about Sally in the Alley. It really was a fun rabbit hole. I love those things where it's like, obviously it had a lot of staying power for a lot of time because there were so many different iterations of it. And I love getting to fall down those kinds of rabbit holes and discover something that I've never heard about. So those are my zines and my adventure in zining this week, and I'm so excited to share these out and keep on crafting with the fun vintage goodies that I find. Thank you for joining me today.